Let's start from the Daily Graphic. Mahama fulfills 72% 120-day pledge. So the graphic gives Mahama 72%. Mahama's government shows promise, but challenges loom. Citizenry assess 120 days in office. Tackling complexities of Galamsey, government pledges to fund pollutant removal from rivers and farmlands. And MPs demand action on Odo River encroachers. If you go to the back page, Ladma Assembly members reject MCU nominee, call for Akrong. And if you read the news and follow the news across the country, there are some of them being confirmed, some of them being rejected. That is the MC and DC nominees.
Right, let's also bring you the Ghanaian Times. And this morning, Dr. Abu Sakara is asking the question, beyond 120 days, what next? Now, focus on bringing relief to Ghanaians as well. And then we've got Ghana demonstrates global leadership in immunization. Stories on page 13. We'll bring that to you a bit later. And chip-embedded passports, not a creation of the current government. Jenapo Abdullah also speaking about that. Let me see if I can find something in the middle page. Well, the back page of the Ghanaian Times, 10-member task force for new national airline inaugurated. So
you're going to get a new national airline?
Yeah, I don't know. So it says that.
Okay, maybe after their feasibility, they'll say, oh, we shouldn't do it, we should do it. So this doesn't mean we are getting a new national airline, does it?
It doesn't amount to that.
But it would be nice to have a new national airline, you know.
Hopefully we don't use it for restaurants.
You know, Americans have astronauts who go to space. The Russians have cosmonauts. If we also go to space, we have groundnuts or Ghana nuts. And then we have a national airline, which also ensures that the after thing is, it would be nice, Kojo. A national airline.
Think that would be nice.
Do you know what I think we should invest in?
Why are you looking at me like that?
No.
You don't agree we should have a national airline?
A national cargo airline, maybe.
Okay, but not a passenger airline.
No.
Then Emirates and all the other airlines will make money from the Black Star Experience and Dirty December, and Ghana will just lose out.
But we will lose out anyway.
We have an airport that has a capacity for 5 million passengers.
We will lose out anyway.
Let's cash in on that capacity.
If we create a national airline, I'm sorry, but we don't learn from our mistakes. We don't.
But the cargo they will learn.
Look, let me tell you something. If we are really going to throw money into buying aircraft to put our logo on it because we want to have a national airline, then you at least let's buy the aircraft and apply it to logistics.
Okay.
Because if we use it to carry people, I'm sorry, but the same thing we did, we'll do it again because we don't learn. We don't learn from our mistakes. That's the one thing that we are consistent on as a nation. We don't learn. Now, and we have state-owned enterprise. Look, if the thing is supposed to provide a service that humans benefit from directly, you best say no. You best say no. Me, I even the cargo crew, I'm not so sure, but at least
the very funny maybe.
You know.
But how about having a national shipping line?
I've been saying it for
because
ages.
If you want to ship from Ghana to even some of our West African countries, sometimes, in fact, most times, your shipment must go to Europe or some other place before it comes back. The Black Star line that existed is no more.
I think we should let the private sector do these things. Even the national airline. The more I think about it, even the cargo idea that I mentioned, let the private sector do it. Let some Ghanaian set up an airline, right? Let's give him the whatever.
Let's deliberately support someone to do that.
Yes. The money still comes to us, right?
Yes.
We still benefit from the Black Star, but let it be a private person doing it.
Okay.
Let it be let's not get government involved in this kind of business again. I mean, we don't learn, so let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Kojo, can I bring some headlines from Major Online? 24-hour economy policy showing strong progress in first 120 days. Dubois memo claims NSB spent 8.3 million Ghana cedis on opposition party ahead of 2024. Deloitte to submit National Cathedral Audit Report this month. This is according to President Mahama. And Justice Atuguba has been speaking. And he said a lot of things, including the fact that he says GBA finds his voice when NDC is in office, and a lot of other things. Could you have something for us on that?
Indeed, a little bit of what the retired justice had to say.
How were they when they were in office? How did they perform? Transparently, neutrally, in the interest of the people? Did they do that? What? This is the kind of thing I just hate. Pure hypocrisy. Now look at the empanelments and see if that panel had not been reconstituted. You think it would have come 3-2? I mean, for how long have you not had unanimous until?
Here's one more.
How were they when they were in office? How did they perform? Transparently, neutrally, in the interest of the people? Did they do that? What? This is the kind of thing I just hate. Pure hypocrisy. Now look at the empanelments and see if that panel had not been reconstituted. You think it would have come 3-2? I mean, for how long have you not had unanimous until?
Yeah. So that's what the retired judge had to say. And, you know, there are some who consider it quite a bombshell to hear a recently retired judge state quite clearly that politics is alive and well in the Supreme Court. But is it? Is it news? Did we not have an academic do a specific job? Is there one more?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, forgive me. There's one more. Here, one more from Justice Atugba.
At the time of the unanimous FC, what was happening? Bafuboni, Kulendi, Waman, Tanko. These were fairly senior judges. How often did they get onto constitutional panels? How often? Why was it so? Were they not members of the Supreme Court? Were they not seniors? And that token. And you see the trend. Let's put pretense aside. Let's look at what is good for Ghana and get that done.
At the court, for example, in a matter that the Member of Parliament for Otafu brought before the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Even before they went into the injunction application, his lawyer, former Attorney General Godfrey Dam, had raised issues about the presiding judge, the acting CJ, sitting on the panel, and makes the point that the acting CJ taking part in that decision, obviously on the background that he is a beneficiary of the vacancy created by the absence of the Chief Justice, and for that reason it was not going to be fair in terms of the determination of the application he had put before the court. You think he didn't have a case? And that matter was dismissed unanimously anyway.
Well, before her suspension, when this challenge came, I mean, when the process was commenced for her removal, Godfrey Dame and others brought suits, injunction. Who empaneled?
The suspended Chief Justice.
She had no interest in her own matter. Empaneling involves picking and choosing.
Who to sit?
Yes. And you think she had no interest in that?
Okay, so I mean, back to the main point that the retired justice says there's politics in the Supreme Court. Everyone is scandalized. You hear, I listened to Frank Davis actually on Top Story last night, vehemently rejecting the idea. But is it news, first of all? I think it was Prof. Atuguba who did an academic work on the trend of the decisions of Supreme Court judges. I think he included Justice Atuguba in that work. It was roundly rejected. I think the Chief Justice at the time was Sophia Akufu. Roundly rejected. In fact, he was condemned for even attempting to do this job. But the point of his work was that there is political the justices of the Supreme Court have political influence. They are influenced politically. I mean, who isn't, to be fair? Now we hear it again from someone who just left the bench. So at what point are we going to take our heads out of the sand and admit that every arm of government is politicized? I mean, that's politics, isn't it?
Of course. I cannot really understand how we want governance without politics anyway. Because by the true nature of it, we elect them into power through politics, and it really lives with you even in the decision making. One of the things that he said actually that has my attention is also on the GBA, saying that as an association they are also quite political. Why he finds them only finding their voice when a particular party is in power. He actually referenced the ex-president J. Kufuor, that the GBA went mute at his era, and suddenly they find their voice only when the NDC is in power. I like to think that there's a bit of politics in nearly everything that we do, especially in governance. But when you do a test, it is how much politics you find during that governance that maybe we'll be discussing. And it's interesting to see that the justice is actually referencing it.
The offense, for want of a better word, is not that the judges have political leaning. The offense would arise if judges allow their political leanings to override their execution of justice.
Right.
That's when we would have a problem. Right? That's when we would have a problem. In any case, this is another reason why we really need to decouple the executive's influence over the judiciary. I mean, we need to work hard to achieve that. There should be no influence of the executive over the judiciary. Otherwise, it makes their presence as an arm of government moot. We can't have that. That kind of defeats the purpose of democracy, does it not? All right. Okay. Coming back to 120 days.
Well, there are other stories on the 120 days. The graphic has a story about people's reactions to the president's 120 days in office. But could you let me give you a story from page 19? Governance at the local level is very important, and MCs are being confirmed and some are being rejected. MCs for Adenta Madina confirmed. Shao Sudoku nominee seeks reconfirmation. That was one of the things that the president also mentioned, that within his 120 days he's nominated all his MCs and DCs. And we also know that the AMA MC has been confirmed. In Kumasi, for example, KMA MC was confirmed and he hit the ground running. It will be interesting to see what plans these MCs have for all the assemblies, especially in the poorest assemblies. Especially in the poorest assemblies, how they are going to manage those assemblies, how they are going to lobby to bring development to those places. And it's one of the things that I believe we need to really follow, how MCs are driving change in the various districts and assemblies. So in Madina, for example, the new MC is Ibrahim Hussein Ifaila. In Adenta, the new MC is Ella Christine Esinam Nongo.
Well, so Dr. Abu Sakara is also asking that beyond that 120 days, the government should focus on bringing relief to Ghanaians, and not just him. I think that even the CSOs, Imani Ghana yesterday on PM Express was also saying that, so that it doesn't look like they're only ticking the boxes, we need to see the structural reforms that these social contracts that the John Mahama administration is said to be in with the Ghanaian people. So I just bring you what Dr. Abu Sakara says. So a development specialist, agriculture and rural economy, Dr. Abu Sakara Foster, has urged the government to focus on the bigger picture of ensuring access to employment, education, infrastructure, and formulate viable policies to bring relief to the people as it assesses its 120 days in office. That story is on page 10. Another story that caught my attention, which we're not discussing today really, is the chip embedded passport, not a creation of the current government. So ranking member of the Foreign Affairs of Committee in Parliament, Samuel Jinapor, says that the recently launched chip embedded passport is not a creation of the current government, and it's how we always want to remind which government did what and which government didn't do what.
It's not a creation of any Ghanaian government at all. Isn't it an invention that exists in the world?
I think the issue under contention here is that who launched it and who implemented it. So the former government says They launched it and it's been relaunched. So that's the.
Sometimes they act like children in a sandpit. Who cares? Who really cares? Who launched it? Can we have it? Can we have it? Can we benefit from it as Ghana? Can we get to that point? Who launched it then? Oh God.